Hello and welcome to Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the film Hard Truths, directed by Mike Leigh. This is a pretty depressing film. Most of Mike Leigh's films are. He must have a pretty negative view of life. There's not much hope in his films. Hard Truths is about Pansy, a middle-aged woman that lives with her husband and grown-up son. This is a deeply troubled woman. She's constantly angry with her immediate family, with her sister, with every person that she comes into contact with. She gets into arguments everywhere she goes. I've seen in many of the reviews that she's described as depressed. I think it's worse than that. For me, this is a person with serious mental health issues, paranoia, obsessive compulsive behaviours, constant negativity. I recently rewatched Beau is Afraid by Ari Aster, and I criticised that film because although it's a brilliant depiction of mental illness, in my opinion, of someone overwhelmed by constant paranoia, the whole film is one note. There's no let-up, no relief, no change of perspective. Hard Truths has a similar quality about it. For most of the film, we're just seeing a series of Pansy expressing anger to every person that she comes into contact with. There is an extra angle. She has a wicked tongue. Many of the things she says are really creative put-downs. She gives as good as she gets. In an interview with Mike Leigh, I heard him refer to Pansyisms, and there are definitely plenty of them. But for me, they don't have the comedic effect that they're meant to have. The constant mental health torture of Pansy is just non-stop. We're watching a woman having a breakdown, and this makes the comedy not at all funny. That said, in the screening I saw, people did laugh at several points. I think Leigh intends us to laugh. But for me, I didn't find it funny at all. It's really sad. It's really depressing. Towards the end of the film, there comes a point where she just stops speaking. She's unable to speak. There's a big change of tone and pace here, and I did find this really effective. This felt much more emotionally charged than the bulk of the film. Hard Truths has had quite good reviews, and critics praise Leigh's trademark natural style, and they cite his working methods where he allows his actors to develop their characters through improvisation and workshops. It's a collaborative process between the director and the actors. However, as with a lot of Mike Leigh's work, I don't actually find it naturalistic. I think that generally his characters are a bit stereotypical. They're often exaggerated. They're often caricatures. They're not at all naturalistic. For me, in Hard Truths, the dialogue didn't feel naturalistic a lot of the time. It had the feeling of a play. I think Leigh probably is a more interesting playwright than a filmmaker. That may be sacrilege to say that, but this is my feeling. Despite all of this, it's a fully committed acting performance by Marianne Jean-Baptiste. She puts her heart and soul into the Pansy character. But I did find myself wondering if this performance would be more effective live on a stage than in a movie. This play-like quality to the film was emphasised by a very quiet soundscape. The film is so gentle, just with a little bit of melancholic music, which gives us a sense of emotional fragility. The music to me felt like it takes itself very seriously, and it was just a little bit melodramatic perhaps. As in all of Leigh's work, the characters do feel like caricatures, and there's one ridiculous character. Pansy's niece works in a perfume company, and the female boss is like a ridiculous caricature of David Brent. Definitely not naturalistic. Overall, I found this film frustrating. This woman needs professional help. She's tortured and she can't hope. And the people around her, particularly her husband and her son, are almost traumatised by the experience. It's really sad that there's no help available to this woman. The film ends with no hope. As in all Leigh's work, it's kind of a stalemate. There is one smidgen of hope introduced by Pansy's son, meeting a young woman in Piccadilly Circus, and I do think this is perhaps a little attempt to introduce some hope, but it felt a little bit clumsy and a bit contrived. All that said, I'm not sorry that I saw Hard Truths. I was engaged with it. I think it's flawed in a number of ways, but it is watchable. I'm not sure I would especially recommend it, but if you already like Mike Leigh, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this film. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.